Welcome, London, and it's Dale Henderson, Councillor, Ward 9. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what I want to do and what I want to be measured against doing, and some ideas I've got to how to grow this city, how we can and how you can help all of us see if we can make things happen by keeping the taxes low, but keeping the services and maybe improving on the services with that type of idea. So using some business methods, let's take a look at the number 3 idea, and that's to do with how do we break down silos. Silos meaning, what is a silo? Silo is a business entity that kind of does their thing in the city environment and don't bother me because I'm having fun or making money doing my thing. But to become from a small city to grow to a bigger city, you've got to now address these because things change. You can't have a monopoly of 5 or 10 people running the city to get to be a bigger city. So you've got to take a look at the institutions that were started years ago, grown, and by the way, they have an entity and think that don't bother me because I have that monopoly. And on that particular issue, well, that doesn't happen anymore because you find in business, one donut store on a corner will do so much business, but 2 donut stores on the same intersection will do more business. It's kind of hard to believe, but that is economics. And from that standpoint, to grow a company, to grow a city, and to grow what we want to do here with existing money is we want 1 + 1 = 3, which is economic development, to create some jobs, create an environment where you can have some great jobs, pay your bills, and by the way, you can live in the environment that's available for all the amenities that people want and want to pay for, but because there's so many and more people paying, then the taxes do not have to go up. We have more people paying their taxes, which brings more money in, which you need to bring more money in, but it's because of either assessment growth, more houses, more people paying taxes, or without changing the whole system so that we go backwards as a small community. So the silos would be, let's say, businesses, for example, government, 3 levels of government, or to some extent, could be a silo. Because if they don't talk to each other, they do their own thing, and by the way, aren't they having fun? So you've got to start breaking some of these down. Not-for-profits, there may be, I'm guessing, several hundred in the city. They do their thing, but they don't talk back and forth. In some cases, they compete with some cases for the dollar that's coming in as a charitable donation. So we got to look at that. Charity, of course, another one. And then there's other silos, education. I mean, university, colleges, private, public. Those things are all, to some extent, competing for the same customer. And different ways of funding, different ways of who pays, and to what extent the talent's there, and what the end opportunity is when you graduate. Those are the things that we're certainly looking at. And the more the merrier from that, because you have more and more opportunities to come to the city and then do your training or whatever opportunity business to happen. Other entities, which I consider to be silos, could be the Chamber of Commerce, it could be different clubs, it could be different business association, unions, entertainment groups, to some extent even media groups, all have a reason that they want to secure their people that are investing, their people paying, and by the way, they're trying to make it happen and don't bother them. But I think that's the change. To have a city grow, they have to start to communicate. They have to start to working together. They have to saying, hey, you can do this, I can do this, and at the end of the day, a whole bunch of things happen that could not have happened with one individually or one group paying for it. So based on that, I think we want to come up with any methods we can and try to have different meetings, information to some extent. So how do we get information out, opportunities out? Where do you read it? Where do you hear it? Where? And I think internet now is going to be the way where we're going to be able to look more and more and more, whether it be news, whether it be opportunities, whether it be, and I'm looking at job creation, which I think is going to be happening on the internet more than any place right the way it's going, because it's so fast and it's easier, and you can communicate as best way possible, I guess. So I think from that standpoint, and if we can break down these silos, we can then have some more competition, which is great, and really that's what gives you dynamics. It gives you entertainment from all spectrums. It could be new Canadians, it could be immigrants coming to town, and they've got talents that they may have their could be language. It could be their rights, their entertainment, and what they want to read, what they want to see, and we have to include that. Food, big one. I mean, look at the restaurants. I mean, it's one of the biggest things we got going in London is restaurants. But that's where you want that dynamics to happen, so you can have more and more and more opportunity to spend your money, move, and then whatever entertainment comes along with that. Wow! Now you stay in London on the weekend. You don't go somewhere else. You stay here, and we want to encourage that to happen. And finally, I think we should, in the silos, to find out where we are heading. How do we address the city with a growing population, and go, like right now, the federal government's saying we're going to go after students. We're going to have 100,000 more students in Canada, because that's a good thing. Why? It's a good thing for the universities. Why? Because they're paying probably $50,000 to $70,000 a year here, where someone locally would pay a lot less than that. They come in, they're taking language, they're learning the English language, they're bringing some of their talents, but we're also making more money in a training environment, which is really good for the training environment. The only problem is we got to understand that we've got to train our people too, because we're paying the tax to make this happen, and we've got to make sure we get our quantity and our quality up and available for Canadians based on the taxing that's going on here. The second group that I would look at, and I think London, by the way, is probably going to have about 500 anyways this year, and we could help promote that as well, as a new economic development, having 500 more students in town. Look at the environment, look at the economic development, the spin-off, all these people bringing in $60,000, $70,000 a year. Isn't that interesting? Plus, you've got a whole bunch of accommodations and what have you that all get excited when that type of activity happens. I think the retirement area is another one that I'm looking at to be a great influx potential for wealth creation in the city. For example, if we got the real estate people got them together and went to Toronto, and we do with the building people, and said, let's come to London. Let's sell your $400,000 or $600,000 house in Toronto. You come to London for a $300,000 house. It looks the same house, and by the way, you got $300,000 sitting in your bank account ready for retirement. Well, isn't that interesting? That's something that is a great, I think we can bring in several thousand from London with a very little inexpensive campaign, but then have them come to London. Traffic, they just save themselves probably an hour a day on traffic. You've got great amenities in this town. There's restaurants, you got whatever you want. They're retiring. You make sure you've got the golf courses, and you've got the things that the older people want. We're not too far away from the water. We're not too far, free waters basically. So we can have the summer. We got skiing, we've got winter, we've got all that amenities, which is, from Toronto's standpoint, we're a lot easier, and the cleanliness of the air is that much even better than in Toronto, believe me. And I think those are things we can sell the city and then sell our economic development. And thirdly, I think the middle age, people with kids, and they're running around doing hockey, and they're doing soccer, and they're doing what they want. They're growing their families. They have good, safe areas. They want to make sure that transportation can get there. And I think that's one area that we would focus in on and say, make sure we got the hockey arenas, make sure we got the soccer fields, make sure we got these people happy, and then they're investing and maybe growing their company with the low tax rate. That's important, so the companies will come to London, will invest in. We make the growth areas and wide enough so they can start to come and purchase some property, purchase a house, purchase some business areas, so we can cause a whole bunch of jobs being created. Is how you grow the essence of a city. And finally, I think we have to really take a hard look at the poor. The poor in this town, we want to make sure they get the right amenities. They got the right counseling they need. There's a lot of addiction in town. There's a lot of health issues big time. And I think we've got to help address that. Not that we're into funding health care. I don't want to fund health care, but I do want to know that we've got the services available. We've got the talent available here in London, and to make sure that we can start to put our hands out and help out And I think that the churches are a great community. Some of the social work groups in town have to be helped to be united together so they can work together, and not just say, well, you've been here three days and we've run out of a government ticket for you, so here's a bus ticket and go on and head for Halifax, which has happened in the past. We want them to say, here, we're going to see if we can get you back up on your feet, get some job, get some kind of help where your needs are there, and then get out of the system. And hopefully we can get them out of the system, but not have it so easy, so great that we want to come to London. We have people that are given a ticket to come to London and find out, wow, there's so much benefits here for someone not working, or someone's, you know, have some serious problems, that we can't handle it either. So I think there's a good measure there, and I think there's something we can work together by these silos, dropping them down, putting them together, and keeping the growing amenities without tax dollars every time. Let the social work, the community, the people, volunteers, working together with the information that's needed, and that's issues that we're working on now. Even from City Hall, I'm looking at making sure we got good news and good information coming out to you every day to give you opportunities for job creation, and or how you can even utilize some of the hubs that we're looking for in the city, so you can communicate with others, dialogue, and become friends and become friendly in each of your areas in the city to work on. So thanks for listening about that idea, about how we can make it happen, and to what extent I'm going to see if, with your help, make it happen. Thank you.